What's going on, family? You are now listening to the Fitness Headspace podcast, brought to you by none other than myself, Deion Avril from Evolve Fitness, where we get fit and we don't quit. And today, you're tapping into episode 7, Fitness Essentials 101. As usual, I'd like to thank you all for just tuning in with me, tapping in, getting some knowledge. And if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to like, share, comment, subscribe, everything counts. Everything counts. We want to try to continue to build this community and help each other grow and evolve. No pun intended. So with that being said, we're going to dive right into it. So the first topic of discussion, we're going to talk about essential equipment, okay? Now, what I mean by that is that most of the time people will always ask me like, hey, D, what are some of the things that you like to keep in your bag? What are things that you recommend, suggest when you're walking into a gym or just in general, right? So I'm going to break it more in a sense of going to the gym, and I have some other things that I'll explain a little bit later as well too, okay? The first thing, of course, you're going to want a gym bag. Now, the type of bag you have, it's all preference. But what I always like to suggest is make sure it's something that's heavy duty, because I've went through a lot of bags. No shots to be thrown, but I've tried a few Nike bags. They've ripped. And again, these were just smaller bags. They were lighter bags. They weren't stitched the best. But for me right now, what I'm using is a Rider wear bag. It ended up coming in with some of the clothes that I had bought. So I was just like, hey, let me go ahead and use it. But it's getting to a point to where I'm probably going to need something a little bit more heavy duty and possibly something a little bit larger. The crazy part is I was just telling, one of my clients / friend that, hey, I think it's getting to a point to where I need to start making 2 or 3 different bags. One for like upper body day with certain clients and one with lower body. That's just me being OCD though, because I don't want to have to keep swapping out in and out with bags, but they're small bags, nothing too crazy, right? The other thing that you're going to want is more than likely some gloves. For the ladies, I would highly suggest it if you want to reduce the amount of calluses that you'll have on the inside of your hands and your palms. So that'll be a number one suggestion. Brand preference, I don't want to say it doesn't matter. I would just say make sure you get something that's comfortable, nothing too big. Make sure it feels just right and has decent padding in the inside. So if you're in the aisle, just try to grab like a dumbbell or something. See how it feels on your hand. Make sure it doesn't feel uncomfortable or doesn't just put unnecessary pressure on it. And I don't think they don't sell them like that anymore. But they used to sell the gloves that used to have, how gotta say it, the like the covering by the knuckles and whatnot. They used to be a little bit longer, kind of like football gloves. So I would definitely get something that's open-handed. Or open or cut, that's cut, and it's not necessarily covering your fingers. Just make sure you have something that you could make sure you have ventilation going through on your hands. I mean, this is common sense stuff, so I'm not going to really go too crazy into detail. For me, I'm very hygiene driven, so face wash, washcloth or something of that nature, just to make sure after I'm done sweating and whatnot, I can wash my face off and make sure I'm good to go. Get a moisturizer. So because my skin is sensitive, that's why I have it in my bag. But I would always suggest it to somebody so you're not walking around with a super dirty face. Can't be dirty in these streets. And the number one thing that I feel like everybody should have in their bag is going to be this next one, a resistance band, and possibly a couple of them. You could get the short loops. So if you're using something for like glutes, you could place them around, for example, your ankles. Or if you're doing lateral band walks, you could place them around the knee area, slightly above. And it depends on how you do it based on your exercise, but the longer ones. So I'm talking about the ones where I could loop around like a bigger machine. I could do like lat pull downs, tricep press downs, or pull aparts, something for like the rear delts. So something of that nature, especially you could use that to warm up with, especially with like shoulder mobility, doing like over and backs. I think it's like a million different names for them. You guys will know once you see those exercises. You could get those at Marshall's, like dead ass. They're not even that expensive. I bought one of them for probably like $6-7, and so I try to get a variety of different ones. So like a light, a medium, and then slightly heavy, and an extra heavy depending on what I'm going to be using it for. But I usually keep the medium in the bag just to keep it there. The next thing, just grab a lock. Just grab a lock because a lot of people have issues with not wanting to keep their bag here and there. Bro, just go get a lock. It's legitimately $3-4 at Walmart. I got a pack of two. I think it was no more than $5. Comes with keys. They're decent grades, so you could always just keep one in the car just in case you forget it, and then just keep throw another one in your bag. So when you're gonna go lock things up, you can keep it in there depending on what gym you go to. And the next thing is going to be glute bands. So the thicker bands. Excuse me. So the thicker bands I think is a really great investment, especially for the ladies. And males too. Like I have them in my bag because I use them. I mean, guys look at me crazy, but I could really care less. It doesn't really matter to me. But the reason why I think it's so important is just due to the fact of for the ladies that, excuse me, need to do glutes or whatever the case is, especially like glute activations to warm them up. That'd be a really good option. Or in the case that you can't get a bar or whatever the case is, you want to do glute bridges, frog pumps, you could still incorporate the band and still have some type of resistance. So again, try to buy a couple of different sizes as far as resistance wise. So I usually have like a light, medium, and then heavy as well too. And again, brand preference, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure it doesn't roll up. So you want the really thick cloth like bands. I think they're either nylon or cloth, or probably a mixture of both. So you could grab some of those. Last but not least, usually like a neck pad for squats. This is, I mean, male and female. So I'm not going to say any of this is gender based. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I use it as well too, but for other purposes, because I do have a slight like shoulder, my shoulder's bugging me. So I just throw it in there. And also I use it for like hip thrusts. So you definitely want it for that. If you could get one that has like the little like Velcro straps just to keep the shape itself, I actually take those off, put it on the bar, then put those straps on so it's secure and tight. So when I actually go underneath the bar for the hip thrust, the actual squat pad is not rotating and moving where it might fall out, and it's just straight bar on my hips, on my pelvic bone when I'm driving up. So small little random dumb crazy tip, but that's something that I've noticed does help. You could get that on like Amazon. You could buy it in the store more than likely, probably too, but Amazon, I got it for like 12-13 bucks. Now the next thing is clothing. And this one's going to be, this is subjective. Personally, I'm a person I like to be complete total opposite from people in a lot of things. And that's how I feel like I stand out. But it's also because I don't like doing everything that everybody else does. Anybody that knows me personally knows that's how I rock. I just, you know what I'm saying? You go right, I go left. And I'm going to find a way that left, the way that I go in regards to the left is always going to bring me back full circle. We'll be in the same place, but I don't have to go the same way you have to. So my personal favorite brand is Ryderwear, okay? Ryderwear, Ryderwear. A lot of people don't know about them. They're actually based in Australia. I believe last year they actually got a manufacturing location in the US. I can't remember where exactly. I think it's Midwest somewhere, out here somewhere. So that was pretty dope. But they have really great quality stuff for male and female. Ladies, I'd highly suggest to go take a look at some of their stuff. They got some bomb stuff for y'all. So I'm going to throw a little bit of shade later, and it's no disrespect. It's just the fact of like, y'all got to get out of your comfort zone. Try different things. You know what I'm saying? My next one, I'm a 3-stripe baby. You know what I'm saying? Adidas gang all day. And my next one is going to be Puma. And for me, Puma and Adidas are basically the same. They're brothers when they came up with the company. So they ended up splitting. One of them did Puma, one did Adidas. So they're basically the same. It doesn't really matter. I'm not really a brand person. It's just more of comfort. And that's just what appeals to me as far as their styles. So that's why I like those two. The one that a lot of people are sleep on, especially fellas, Fabletics. Fabletics for men. I know you guys probably seen like Kevin Hart doing all this crazy stuff. Personally, I don't do any of their shorts because I'm a little bit thicker. So it was a little bit harder. I had bought some shorts, they didn't fit. Now that I'm sizing down like almost 25 pounds, now they finally fit. But I don't feel like going through that hassle again. But the jackets and stuff, I love their jackets. Really great quality. And it gives me an idea of what I want to do moving forward when I do come out with my own clothing line as well too. And then you got the other ones like Under Armour. I love like the long sleeve sports like stuff. They're really dope in my opinion. And Nike is like, I don't want to say it's the last on my list, but it's just everybody and everybody mama wear Nike. It's not that big of a deal to me, whatever. And then for the cost, so for people who don't know, I'm Haitian. You know what I'm saying? We frugal with our money. So we like to get the best bang for the buck. So you'll find me in like Marshalls, Ross, Those are the top two places that I usually get those name brand things. I don't really go to the actual Adidas store or Puma store or any of those places besides Fabletics because it's online. And if I do, I go to the outlet and I try to make sure that I go around the time that they're going to have good deals. Or what I'll do is in the event, I'll try to sign up for coupons and discounts and stuff ahead of time. So when I go in, I'll have that option as well too, right? And the brand, of course, that a lot of people are probably surprised that I didn't mention was Gymshark. I don't own any Gymshark stuff, and it's nothing against Gymshark. I just don't feel like wearing everything that everybody else wears. And then I think The Rock has his own clothing line as well too, which is pretty dope. I've been seeing a lot of people with that too. Pardon me. I've been seeing a lot of people with that as well, and it looks nice. But again, I like to be unique. I like to be me, right? I don't want to carbon copy and cookie cutter and do what other people do. And it's not me. It's me being going against the grain, but it's just naturally going against the grain. And I just happen to run into Right Aware because I'm really big into like bodybuilding and whatnot. Not like deep, but in a sense of, oh, I saw Kai Green, somebody that I think is a really cool influencer within the bodybuilding community, and I saw him with his shoes. So that was the first pair of shoes that I got as far as lifting shoes, and they were Right Aware, and they were red. And that was like, I was like, damn, these are hard. These are hard, G. So from that point, I just went with the whole clothing line, right? So I got I got t-shirt. Well, I don't got t-shirts. I got primarily tank tops, stringers. I have jackets from them, and I have the shoes. I'm gonna probably get some pants. Like I want to get the full thing and do my own little thing with them and work some things out. I'm not gonna tell y'all too much though. Yeah, so those are some of the brands that I would suggest. And again, it's preference. Some people just go to Marshalls and find some dope stuff. Like I found some crazy like nice shorts and stuff for like 12, 13, $14, and they're not even crazy brand names. These are just random ones that I found, and they're just really good materials. So again, these are really good reference points for me moving forward when I do decide to launch the clothing line. So now the next topic is going to be fitness for all. Okay, as you guys can see, like I have a different format as far as what I'm doing because it makes more sense. I don't want it to feel like all scattered. I want to try to keep it as organized as possible. So this part is going to be more so based overall in regards to, for the average person that's getting into the gym and things of that nature as well too. Okay. So what are a few ways that you can stay active without going to the gym? So for the normal person, let's say that you can't go as of right now, whatever the case is, based on whatever's going on, a lot of people neglect the fact that there's everyday life things that you do or hobbies that you have. So for example, outdoor sports. So I'm not speaking about Florida in particular with some of these because I mean hiking, we might do that, but it's going to be in different portions of Florida. It's not really going to be on the East Coast in my personal opinion. We have a lot of untapped land and sightseeing that a lot of people don't know about on like the middle portion of Florida or the West Coast, like Devil's Den and things of that nature, like even just all over. But these are like places that a lot of people don't shed a lot of light on. Those are like the small little treasures of Florida. So if you live in Florida, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like kayaking, swimming, walking, running, tennis, like you don't necessarily have to be in the gym to be fit and active. Like you could do a lot of this stuff outside wherever you are, right? The second topic is going to be gym equipment for that from the household standpoint. So a lot of people think that, oh, I need to go buy this, I need to go buy that, because when this whole thing was going on with the vid-19, a lot of people were trying to figure out how were they going to get stuff because it was supply and demand, and it was crazy. Like I felt like it was a drug game. Like it was crazy. Like you had people flipping a lot of this equipment for double the price just because it was hard to find. So even when I bought like plates and stuff like that, I spent almost $1,000 on what was it? A barbell, 45, Olympic weighted. So 45-pound barbell. I got 500 pounds worth of weights. I think that was it. For like 9 something, and it broke the bank. And I was just like, bro, but at the end of the day, at least I got it now. So over time, I just progressively got things because I knew I wanted to set up a little home setup anyway. So it kind of ended up working out that way. But ultimately, what I would suggest is like a large medicine ball, right? You could get these from, again, Ross and Marshalls. A lot of people be sleep, bro. A lot of people be sleep because For example, I'm going to go ahead and list straight down the list. Dumbbells you can get from there. You can get the mats as well, really good, like yoga quality mats, really soft, great quality. You have resistance bands, short and long. You also could get jump ropes from there. So if you want to do something in the house as far as cardiovascular, or if you have a bike, you could use that. There's so many different options. Like there's not one way to do cardio or hit workouts as well. And then you have like water gallons, crazy, 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 right? So a lot of people are like, what are you doing with water gallons? I'm like, dude, you'd be surprised what you could do with some water gallons. You get what I'm saying? So like, I'm gonna go ahead and go down the list and then come back to water gallons. So stairs, stable chairs in the house, broom, and or mop sticks. So now let me get back into it. So let's say that I got a broom, right? Like I'm a savage when it comes to it. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna squat with those with the gallons. So a gallon is approximately 8 pounds for each one. So if you're able to, what you can do, you can take your broom or your mop stick. Usually they can screw off, right? So you could go buy that from Dollar Tree. I.e., I'd probably go get it from like Publix or Walmart if you want something a little bit more sturdy. But with that being said, what you can do is unscrew it, right? I'm trying to give you the best visualization as I can. And let's say that you got 2 gallons, right? What you would do is take that broomstick and take it and push it through the handle between both, spread them apart. But what you would do is you can now imagine like you have two plates on each side. So you just spread them apart evenly. And then what you could do is get in a position to do like deadlifts, RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. I can do stiff-legged deadlifts. I could do squats. You get what I'm saying? So there's a couple of different things that you can do with those. You could do walking lunges. Again, you just got to be creative and make sure that you're safe about it. So those are some of the things that you could use that broom or mop stick for. I can also just use the stick itself to do standing torso twist, so I can focus on my abdominals as well. I can also do overs and backs, and that will also work on like shoulder mobility and things of that sort. So these are just some of the ideas that I can give you off the bat, off the top of my head. Now, when we're using something like stairs, I can do something like elevated reverse lunges. I could do actual step lunges, or we could, you know what I mean? Because you're walking up. So walking lunges on an incline going up, just being very careful. You could do things like standing calf raises as you hold on to it, single leg calf raises. I can also hold on to a gallon and, place it on this. So let's say that I'm doing a calf raise, but on one leg, and let's say that I'm going to just do the right leg. So what I would do is take the gallon and place it on the right side of my body, right? And then what I would do is place my foot on that step, drop that heel down as far as I can, try to get that flexibility, and then push through it. So not only am I using my body weight, but I have an additional 8 pounds on that side. So think about that. I'm telling y'all just got to be creative. Y'all got to think outside the box. So when it comes to me doing virtual trainings and stuff like that, I just tell people, hey, can you just give me like a good idea of what you have around the house or whatever the case is? You don't have to give me a full MTV crib tour, but give me an idea so we could try to put together some stuff and see what you have if you don't have primarily resistance bands. So these are some of the things that you can use. Now, the next thing is going to be how to build a fitness plan to help you lose your weight. Now, your fitness plan, what I always like to tell people is first and foremost, you need to assess what exactly your goals are, okay? Once you understand your goals, you understand how your body moves, like the biomechanics and things of that nature, what you're comfortable with doing, if you have like limited range of motion on certain things. Those are some of the things that you want to keep in mind as you're putting this plan together. Now, not only is it just the actual program itself, as far as like strength training wise, you also want to make sure that your diet is in check. I don't want to necessarily call it diet. Let me go ahead and correct myself and say nutrition plan, because the thing is, a lot of people think about a diet as like a short-lived type of thing, where a nutrition plan is something that you're adjusting along the way based on your goals and where you are and your lifestyle, and just trying to maintain once you reach and achieve that goal. And you're always going to create new goals as you move forward too, right? So that's the main thing. So when you're building your plan, again, understanding your goals, creating those goals, short-term, long-term, this is stuff we've already talked about. I don't want it to sound too redundant, but it's legitimately what you need to do. And then from there, making sure that you, for example, you could track all of your food for 1 week in like MyFitnessPal. If you have a coach or whatever the case is, you can actually add them as a friend for free in there, and they could kind of give you an idea of like, okay, cool, D, as of right now for the week, you're like, Your average as far as what you're taking in might be 2,200 calories. All right, cool. So this is what it takes for you to either stay at that weight, or it's making you slightly lose weight or gain a little bit of weight. So then we could kind of adjust based on that and seeing what we need to do. And of course, primarily making sure that your protein stays exactly where it needs to be. You can kind of adjust with your carbs and see how you would like to do that. And then fats, it's usually about, I believe it's zero point 0.3 grams per pound of body weight. And then your protein is 0.8. So you have that kind of like a rule of thumb, like a quick rule of thumb as far as like basics. Okay. And then from there, you're going to want to add in some cardiovascular. And again, it's not necessarily just to burn body fat. It's to also keep your heart healthy, right? That's the number one thing. But it also helps you put yourself in a caloric deficit. So that's what it really does. Those are going to be some of the things that you're going to want to utilize in regards to building that plan to help you lose weight. And then when it comes to your exercise selection as a beginner, or just saying, again, in totality, as far as fitness for all, stick with the basics. If this is your first time, stick with the basics. So compound movements, things that are utilizing more than one muscle group. So for example, deadlifts, squats, presses, rows. Those are going to be some of your main staples that you want to do as far as incorporating into your workouts or each session that you're doing, or your workouts basically. But those are the exercise selections that you want to be mindful of in regards to the range. Most people are going to want to stay between 8 to 12 when you're first starting, but give yourself room to progress. Set wise, usually anywhere between roughly 2 to 5 sets as you're starting out. I always like to say less is more. And as you adjust, you can always see like, that wasn't enough this week. I'm okay. I'm recovering quite well. I can add in a little bit more. So the next topic, we running through them, y'all. We running through them. Motivating others to work out with you. I think that's going to be a really good thing as well too. So overall fitness, if you have somebody that you can kind of work with each other, like side by side, it'll definitely make it a little bit more incentive as far as saying like, okay, cool. I got Jane. She's going to be working out with me today, and it's going to hold you accountable. That's the thing. You guys are going to be able to hold each other accountable. For example, putting together a group chat, showing each other what we're eating, keeping each other motivated, sending a motivational text in the morning really quick, like a screenshot of a dope quote, just to keep everybody in the right state of mind. So I think it's really cool if you do have somebody that you can work out with, because it'll just help you guys hold each other accountable, and also it'll be a lot easier reaching the goals individually, but also together, because you have somebody that's going to be there as far as your support system. Like I always say, your support system is going to be number one when it comes to this fitness journey, and also your mentality as far as how you come in, as far as, I gotta say, so your mentality in regards to your approach. So understanding like, okay, cool, I'm in the right state of mind, and even if you're not, you just got to take it one step at a time. So don't expect to go in full force 5 days a week. Always start with about 3 days. And then from there, in between those days, you could add in a little bit of cardio. You could walk outside. You could do some jump rope. You could do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But just make sure that you're not overdoing anything. So when you go to work out for your actual strength training session, you don't have like overlapping soreness where it's going to affect the way that you perform those exercises that day, if that makes sense. And again, if you guys have any questions about any of this, feel free to just let me know. Shoot them in the comments or DM me as well too. I'm usually on primarily TikTok or either on IG for that situation as far as getting in contact as well. But you can still hit me up on YouTube. I get notifications for that too. So the next thing, as far as topic wise, is fitness myths. Okay, I have 5 different ones. I'm gonna try to breeze through them really quick, but make it to the point to where you can understand it clearly, right? Because these aren't, they're very simple. This first one is that women shouldn't work out like men. And I always ask people, what exactly does that mean then? Because I have some of the ladies that tell me like, hey, yeah, I don't want to work out like him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I have another topic that kind of goes hand in hand, so I'll put them together now. Because women have this ideology that they're going to get bulky like guys. And again, I'm not trying to generalize or anything, or it's just the fact that that's literally what happens. I always get ladies that tell me, yeah, I just don't want to get bulky. I'm like, well, anatomically, genetically, there's a lot more that we have to go into detail with. But unless you're taking PEDs or something of that nature, that's when it's like, oh, okay, like, damn, like her voice dropped, or dang, like, you get what I'm saying? So you have to have those certain qualities and factors, and also genetics plays a primary factor into how all that rolls out or plays out for you personally. So my thing is your strength training is actually what's going to help you get stronger. It's going to help you build more muscle. It's going to help you burn body fat. But what happens is, it's not that it's converting, but what happens is, in place of your body fat, you'll have a little bit more muscle. So that tone look that you are looking for essentially is going to come by, one, your diet or nutrition plan, like I said. And then from there, it's going to also have to incorporate some strength training so that you can build that muscle so that you look toned. So it's just that, like, for example, I got a client right now. She looks amazing, but, she's pressing like 20-pound dumbbells. And I told her, like, listen, your upper body is fine, so we're good. Don't go any higher. Just maintain at this point, because that's all you really need to do. So definitely get that ideology out of your head, because that's not a real thing. The second thing is that you shouldn't eat after a certain time. That myth we could go ahead and throw out the door. My thing is, it's really overall just based on your energy intake or your caloric intake for the day. As long as you're in a deficit, that's one thing. Where people feel like they're still full at night is usually because they eat a heavy meal. So we like to encourage people, and I say we in a sense of like the fitness community that's really out here trying to help people and educate. We're going to suggest that you eat a lighter meal towards the end of the night. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not going to eat a steak at the end of the night. I'd prefer to eat my steak before, like, if it's 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because then I have enough time to digest before working out. Or that's because it's the heaviest and the largest meal of the day. You want to stack it there instead. So you don't necessarily have to worry about digesting your food or feeling bloated, or like you can't go to sleep and you're restless because your food is still digesting at the end of the night. So I like something light, like chicken or fish is usually my go-to at the end of the night. And if that's not the case, then it'll be something like a shake or like snacks, light popcorn, whatever the case is. It just depends on the situation. So there's not necessarily a certain time you should eat after or you shouldn't eat after. It's more so if you're doing fasting, that's different. But I don't want to tell anybody that, hey, you should stop eating after a certain time, because that's absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. Okay. And now the other one, the last one is, I can't work out if I have an injury. Well, first and foremost, let's talk to your doctor and see what your doctor recommends. And then from there, you kind of make that judgment based off of their expertise. Now, in the event that they say you're clear to work out, don't feel bad for yourself. Just put some work in and work around those injuries, and understand that there's going to be certain things that you're going to be limited to for the time being, or find alternatives or find modifications. So for somebody that's not able to, do certain exercises, then I'll tell them, okay, well, learn how to incorporate bands instead to do leg extensions as you're sitting on your chair, and wrap it around and loop it from behind and place your feet in the inside and still extend up. You can still get that resistance, but just in a different way. So you can absolutely still work with an injury, but you have to be smart and understand, what you can and what you should not do, just to make sure that you are putting yourself in an advantageous position to make sure that you are recovering properly at the end of the day. So that's the number one thing, or that's the most important, I should say. Now our last area, okay, is going to be diet and nutrition. Now, the first one is going to be, why is your diet as important in regards to your journey? It's going to be as important as like your actual strength training. And that's because, again, a lot of the work that you're doing as of right now is going to be primarily based off of your nutrition. So if your nutrition is out of whack, of course it's going to be an issue. I mean, a lot of people don't think about it that way. I don't want to say it like, duh. It's just more like that's going to be the primary thing that you want to focus on. And then what you could do is incorporate your strength training as well too. Okay. So they're both as important, just because of the fact that you have to be in a caloric deficit, but you also have to do some strength training and incorporate some overload, or progressively make things more challenging, because your body is going to adapt and naturally plateau, in a sense, if that makes makes sense. The next thing is going to be some healthy eating habits and tricks. So some of the things that I always suggest to do is, first and foremost, meal prep. Cook in advance. I promise you that's going to be the number one thing that's going to help you and save you. because again, that 1 to 2 hours that you're investing that one day is going to give you in return 72 hours of food that you don't necessarily have to think about. You just grab and go, put them in whatever order you need to, throw them in a lunchbox, and you're good to go. One of the things that I actually saw, which I thought was really dope, was I have somebody that is really close to me, and she was like, bro, I come in the house and I'm like, I just see sticky notes, and it says dinner. It says, hey, snacks on in the like on the pantry door. Hey, if you want snacks, you need to eat X, Y, and Z. She has one for breakfast. So it's just like literally she has sticky notes as a reminder to get her back into the habit. So this is not even my suggestion. This is something that I saw, and it's actually on my page too. I was like, yo, this is lit. This is so simple, but people don't think about doing that, right? You can also set timers. You can also set reminders in your phone. So there's no excuse to go off track. You just have to hold yourself accountable. So those are some of the things that I would suggest. Now, here's 2 sites that I want to give you guys in regards to nutritional info. It's going to be Calorie King and also My Food Diary. Those are going to be the 2 places that you can kind of get an idea of how many calories is in what. Again, these are going to be rough estimates, but they're going to be pretty accurate, but nothing is really accurate on the nutrition label, to be, if we're going to be honest with you. Most of them are not going to be anywhere near for the most part, but they're usually off by about 20 to 30%. So keep that in mind as well too. So that's why sometimes I actually undereat with certain things and I'll overeat on certain things. So again, it's not 100% proven, but that's just one of the things that I had noticed. And the importance of vitamins and minerals. So a lot of people don't think about that because we are sometimes deficient in a lot of minerals and vitamins on a day-to-day basis based on how we eat in regards to our nutrition. So if you're able to go get some blood work done to see what you're deficient in and see what you need to incorporate. Usually the number one thing that I tell everybody to invest in is a multivitamin. You could get one from Walmart, but I like to get one from certain like websites. So like Tiger Fitness is where I get my multivitamin. And that's just because I get a lot of my stuff from there. So it's $10. It's really not that big of a deal. I could buy 2 of them and just call it a day for the next, I think it's like 2 months. I think it's 30 or 60 days. It doesn't matter, whatever the case is. It's $10. It's not that big of a deal. So that would be one of the things that I would highly suggest, because a lot of people that are deficient don't notice it or wonder why they have like certain side effects. And I'll have to make like a whole separate video for that as well too, because we could get into real detail. Like I got everything written down, and I will do that for you guys. Last but not least, if you fell off your diet, now what? So let's say you went out to eat with the fellas or the ladies, or you're on vacation, whatever the case is, and you slipped up a little bit, and that's fine. Again, you're human. You should have fun. You should indulge when you can, but you should know when to not overindulge is my main thing. So let's say in the event that you're coming back to town, and you're like, damn, I really effed up. It's really not that big of a deal. What you really need to keep in mind is that, again, you're not a robot. You are human. It's okay to eat what you want to eat from time to time. And even whenever, but just not excessively, and everything should be in moderation. Too much of anything is not good for you, including water. Like you can die from drinking too much water, which is crazy to me. So with that being said, if you were to fall off of your diet, the main thing you need to do is just accept the fact that, hey, it's okay. And I always like to reflect back on, how did I feel? Did I enjoy that food? Yes. Okay, that's fine. You're supposed to. Right? You don't want to just be on this linear, nutrition plan, eating the same thing over and over and over again. Like mentally, you're just going to get burnt out. So even for me, like I had John Smith sub not too long ago. And then after that, maybe 2-3 days later, I had Chipotle. Okay, so what? Like, it's really not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. And I was still in a caloric deficit because I wasn't eating that much that day, and it wasn't on purpose. So accept the fact that it's okay to fall off your diet. The one thing you need to understand is that it's okay, and you just got to hop right back into where you were beforehand. Okay? So don't beat yourself too hard about it. It's all right. You're human, and it's okay. Now, guys, unfortunately, we have reached the end, but I definitely had fun in regards to giving you this information, and I feel like I love this format a lot better. So if you guys agree, definitely just drop that like, let me know. And if you guys got any other suggestions, feel free to drop them down. Again, I greatly appreciate you guys sticking in with me. I'm dropping gems 24/8 on IG and TikTok. So if you guys got any other questions or any concerns, feel free. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask me. Again, I'm here to give as much knowledge and educate people as much as I can, along with other fitness coaches, which we're going to continue doing that as well too. We'll be linking up and doing double ups again and triple ups. We got some stuff coming. I know I got some stuff coming as well too. So again, if you guys could like, share, comment, subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. I love the fact that I'm getting into the double digits. It's crazy because you just keep going and keep going. You don't necessarily think about how far you've come. But again, it doesn't even matter about the number. It's just that we're going to continue giving quality information to the community because you guys are all my family. Once again, I want to tell you I genuinely appreciate you guys sticking in with me, and I'll catch you guys next time. Deuces.